getting back on my feet and moving again, they would zap me again.
Yeah.
And this happened 6 times.
Okay.
Each time, I got better at handling it, you know, because at first when you walk into any type of new experience or using something, or, you know, just to use this analogy, you're not familiar with it.
Mm.
But the more this stuff started to happen to me, the more familiar I got with it. And
So you were...
at first, you know, I was thinking that, okay, these are evil spirits, they're demons, and, you know, playing with my mind, things like that.
But by the way, just a quick question here. Do you remember, like, was this? You said you did mention voices. Was this in English? What did they say? Do you remember anything of that?
Yeah, they were in English.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they would say horrible things. When I go back to remembering this stuff and what their voices were saying, it was a very tailored psychological game they were playing on me. I mean, they would say obtrusive stuff to me, real sick stuff, to kind of degrade people who I you know, admired and things like that. Because, like I said, I came from this whole Rastafarian thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at one point I considered myself a Rastafarian. I don't really anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole teaching kind of gave me a good ground to stand on. So they would, you know, say things like that. And one example would be, okay, they had me locked up in this mental hospital called Building 50 on the grounds of the Norristown State Hospital in my area.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I'm not sure. It's not really affiliated with that hospital, but it's on their grounds. And one thing that I noticed that went along when this was happening to me is this hum. I would hear this hum. And I suspect that the hum that I hear and heard, I still hear it now, is the carrier wave. Because, you know, you have the carrier wave and then you send out the signals upon that wave.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the hospital one night, and this thick, loud hum comes over the hospital. And down the hall they had this TV room where, you know, they would let everybody go in there and smoke their cigarettes. Now this is late at night. Everybody else in the hospital seems to be asleep. I'm still up. And then out of the TV room, I hear this, and I don't know if it's coming from a TV or I don't know if they were just, you know, broadcasting this so only I could hear it. But it sounded to me like Nazi-style, you know, war transmissions. Like they sounded like Nazis.
Okay.
But they were speaking in English. So I'm sitting down the hall in the room hearing all this thick hum on me, so I get up and say, I'm going to go investigate this. So I walk down the hall. And as I'm walking down the hall, there's those transmissions that I was hearing of this Nazi-style, you know, content switches over to this techno song. And the lyrics in it kept on repeating, fuck Rastafari, over and over.
Sheesh. Right.
I mean, it just was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, of course. Oh my God.
Really, you know, put me in this state of fear. So, you know, what I did is I walked down to the nurse's station, and in this place there's only supposed to be a nurse on hand. I walked down there, there's all windows throughout it, there's nobody in there. Behind the nurse's station is this room, and there was a door that led out to the hallway. So I knock on that door. And in that room, I hear a bunch of these people start laughing. And I mean, they were laughing this very evil type of laugh. You know, right when that happened. So I'm just thinking, I'm in the pit of hell here.
Sheesh, yeah.
So I go back to the room, and at the time, you know, I have my Bible with me. You know, I don't particularly. I've learned a lot about religion since then, and you know, in my eyes at this point, religion is just another screen of control. I think religion was set up to create this screen between the people and getting in touch with real spirituality. Yeah. But at the time, I was into those things, so I went to go get a spiritual sort of strength to go read some Psalms. And so when I open the Bible, I look at the words, and all the words right before my eyes changed. And this goes into what some of the things they're able to do with these weapons as far as affecting your visual cortex and having you see illusions.
Yeah.
And from my experience, they're certainly able, I think, well, I don't say I think, I'll say I know, and there's definitely it's in the literature, the military documents, if you do the reading. And like you were saying about that one news article on Wired, I mean, the stuff that they're letting us know about in the mainstream media and in news publications, that's just, it's just the peanuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Of what these weapon systems can actually do.
Yeah.
So from my experience, they definitely can see what I'm seeing, hear what I'm thinking. I don't know really how they're doing it, but they're certainly doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's one time I was looking at a picture on the back of an album, and it was a Capleton album. It was a reggae musician. And right before my eyes, he changed over. It changed into this Middle Eastern type of looking general. But the thing that really gets me, and I think is the most telling thing, that proves that this isn't just some rantings of someone trying to say, oh well, he's just trying to find a way that he's not got a mental illness. I mean, if I had a mental illness, I'd be happy to admit to it. But when this would happen, my mother would call she would 302 me, like I said. They would come and get me at the ambulance, and they would bring the cops. Now, this one time they came to get me, but I never wanted to go into this place. It was like a prison. So I'm out front and I'm trapped. And the cops are there. There's about 4 or 5, 6 cops there. Maybe more, and then the ambulance, and then these strange guys who drive the ambulance. And I'm standing there, and I'm not moving or anything. And any time a cop would pull somebody over, I'm not sure what it's like in Sweden for you, but usually the radio is pretty quiet. You might hear something, blah, 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 this is happening, 10-4, or whatever codes are they have.
Sure.
And then the radio would shut off, and, you wouldn't hear anything. This time when they came to pick me up, there was nothing but this static and a lot of different noise on the radios. And while I'm standing there, I'm feeling trapped, I get this sudden instinct to run. And yet I don't move. I'm just standing there. Over the radio, the dispatcher voice comes through. And she says, he's thinking of running.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
and right at that moment, a couple of the cops kind of lunged forward. And so here I am seeing this, and I'm like, aha.
That's like a, what do you call it, a Truman Show moment there, almost?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that movie right there is, the symbolism of it. That's what it's exactly like, is living in a real-life type of Truman Show.
Yeah. Everybody's watching you. They know even what you're thinking. But that's very interesting. I mean, we could go, I guess, on and on, about this if this actually was something that only was internal, meaning that it was something that was directed, towards you and happening inside your mental, in your mind, as it were, or this was something that was happening on the radio, and they actually in some way were able to read your thoughts or pick up on what you were thinking about doing, right?
Right. And there's definitely the evidence that they, can pick up and read thoughts. You hear about some of these brain scanners that they're thinking of putting into the, in the airports and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going to scan your brain and find out if you're a terrorist.
Yeah. And they even have, let's see, I'm trying to pull up that article now, but I remember it, they were implementing some, even some new toy, I think, released from Japan, I think, a toy that could pick up on your brain waves and respond to, your patterns of what you were thinking at the moment, and this toy would have different effects depending on what your mood or whatever was. So again, this is something that is being deployed now on the toys department of implementation of technology. So just imagine what they actually do have way up there,
Yeah, exactly. Here's a quote out of Dr. Begich's Controlling the Human Mind again, and he's talking about this one section called What's on Your Mind, and he's talking about patents. And he writes here, in 1975, developments in ways to measure the extremely weak magnetic fields emanating from organs such as the heart, brain, and lungs are leading to important new methods for diagnosing abnormal conditions. This knowledge is used to interpret and apply the frequency codes using magnetic fields as a way to facilitate induction. They can affect specific targeted body organs. It goes on, in 1995, a system for capturing and decoding brain signals was developed, which includes a transducer for stimulating a person's brain, EEG transducers for recording brainwave signals from the person, a computer for controlling and synchronizing stimuli presented to the person. At the same time, the system would record brainwave signals and either interpret signals using a model for conceptual, perceptual, and emotional thought to correspond to the EEG signals of thought of the person, or compare the signals to normal brain signals from a normal population to diagnose and locate the origin of brain dysfunction underlying perception, conception, and emotion. It goes on to write here, in other words, the device reads one's mind by comparing your brain activity to other people's, and then by using this information they can create new signals and send them back to change the perception or emotion.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, this is the cutting edge stuff. This is just like, this is the whole new weapon systems. It's no different. It's creating type of changes in the world. It can drastically change the world, of course.
Yeah.
Where they can psycho-civilize societies.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to what we see with the creation of the atomic bomb and the Manhattan Project. It's just that next jump up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's new, I mean, this in a sense has always, been the case, I guess, but on different levels. I mean, it's a, I mean, it's not a war. Well, it is a war actually, but it's not, it's a struggle against. Well, it's like, bacteria and antibodies or whatever. This is something that is constantly evolving, and as new technology is being implemented, we have to implement new ways of actually dealing with that as a problem. But I guess we're standing on a kind of a different edge this time. We're standing on a different level, because this is going into aspects that I don't know, we might not think of these kinds of things